All right, you guys, welcome back to EXP Family Tree. We're super excited to have John Dietz with us again, the coach of all coaches when it comes to listings. And he is back with us, pouring into us once again. And we're super excited for a continued conversation. For those of you that are watching live, hello and welcome. Those of you that are joining us on Zoom, we're glad that you're here with us physically. We really appreciate that. It helps us to speak to people that we can see, not just to those that we know we're talking to, but we can't see them. There's a different experience as a speaker and a coach and a trainer. So we appreciate you guys spending time with us live. And for those of you watching on YouTube, hello to you as well. There's a variety of ways you can reach out to John and I. So please let us know if we can help you. Without further ado, John, please take it away as you always do.
Thank you, Cari.
Welcome.
I've been talking nonstop since 7 a.m. this morning. So 7 a.m. Eastern time, whatever the time it is for you people out there on the West Coast, I have no idea. And, you know, by the way, I get up at 4. So what time is that for you, Cari? 1? You're probably
that's 1. You know what I did today, though, John? You'll be proud of me. I actually spoke in the Connecticut broker stateroom for all the Connecticut agents today, and it was 6 a.m. my time, 9 a.m. your time.
Wow.
As in the world. So I was happy because I looked all put together in my avatar, and in real life, I looked like I was still half asleep, but it was great.
You know, interesting question. So when you're speaking in the world, do avatars in the audience fall asleep?
They all look like they're so enthused. It's amazing. Could you imagine? They all start nodding their heads. That would actually be a really funny thing, because I don't know if you guys have done this, but when you're in the world with your avatars, it gives you click on your name and it gives you little things you can do. You can dance and shake hands. And wouldn't it be funny if it was like nod off just to like harass the speaker? That would be horrible, but funny.
Let's figure that one out, make it happen. All right, introductions. I'm John Dietz. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you this afternoon. 20 years in real estate. I got my real estate license in 2002. Sold an average of 100 homes a year for 13 years before I went full-time into leadership as a trainer, coach, and recruiter, which is what I do today. I'm a trainer, coach, and team builder. Sounds a lot better than recruiter. And only work the seller side of the business. So if you have any buyer questions today, don't raise your hand because you don't want to talk to me. Listed an average of 12 to 15 homes every month. Did that for 13 years in a row. My goal today is to share with you some things that you can do, some ideas that will help you take more listings and build your real estate business through the listing side of the business. Thank you to Matthew and Mary for having your cameras on. Love that. Appreciate the opportunity to look out and see people. If I say something funny, please laugh. If I say something you like, give me a thumbs up. If I say something you don't like, don't give me a thumbs down. Don't like that. It's not nice. And Matthew, I miss you on our morning calls. Would love to see you rejoin us. Not calling you out in public or anything, but calling you out in public. So there you go.
I love your calls. So.
All right, guys, I have 7 key points that I want you to focus on for today. And as always, I'm going to give you those key points first, and then we're going to go back and begin at the beginning. Pre-list soft interview is number 1. Please write it down. Pre-list soft interview. Key point number 2. 2-step listing or 1-step listing presentation. We're going to talk about reasons why you would use one or the over the other. Both are good, and we'll talk about that in depth in just a moment. Preparation, super important. I've got several bullet points for you under preparation. We'll get to that in just a second. Number 4 is Kodak moment. Kodak moment is your first impression, critically important, will always be a part of every listing class that I teach. 5, care, trust, help. Care, trust, help. And then number 7, logic versus emotion, or logic and emotion. And for those of you who are counting, that was 6, not 7. Logic and emotion, and 7. All the high C's in the room are just dying right now, Cari. They're like, what? It's 6, not 7. So 7 is close. All right, here we go. Pre-list soft interview. you have the appointment. And I want you to schedule time to do a pre-list soft interview. Now, what that means is you're going to reach out to the seller and you're going to ask them a series of questions. Now, there's a lot of people who will tell you you can leverage this, and they're right, you can. However, I did both. I made those calls myself and I leveraged it to someone else. And what I found was it was better when I made the calls myself. It gave me an opportunity to emotionally connect and hear the emotion from the seller when certain questions were asked. If I'm not making that call myself, then I could be missing something that would end up being a blind spot for me later on. Now, what are the questions that you can ask? I want you to create this for yourself, but I'll give you a few. How long have you lived in your home? Now, can you get that from public records? Yes, you can, and ask it anyways. How long have you lived in your home? One of the other questions that I would ask is, when your home sells, where are you moving to? Follow up to the second question, how soon do you want to be there? Don't use the word need, because they're on their guard, guys. And if you use the word need, they're going to hear that you're looking for an opportunity to be a dirty, rotten real estate agent and force them to do something they don't want to do. So when would you like to be there? When your home sells, where are you moving to? And when would you like to be there? Now, there's a lot more questions that you can ask later on, but for now, those are the only questions that I would ask as part of the soft interview, as far as them moving. All right, next question I would ask in order to prepare for the appointment is, tell me about the improvements you've made to your home. There's a huge difference between tell me about the improvements you've made to your home in the last 2 or 3 years versus what are the improvements you've made to your home in the last 2 or 3 years. I'm going to tell you words matter. Read every book you can get your hands on the psychology of selling and the psychology of negotiating. It really, really matters. Pay close attention to that. So tell me about the improvements you've made to your home in the last 2 or 3 years. If they give you an answer that you can go deep on, take the opportunity to do that. In other words, we put on a new roof. When did you do that? Last year. Is it tile or is it shingle? Now, I know based on where you live in the United States, Cari, I get it. Probably a dozen different types of roofs that they could replace with, right? And I know in South Florida, where I lived for 8 years, it was only tile. Now, here on the West Coast, we've got shingle, we've got tile, we've got aluminum. I don't know what else is up there, but those are the 3 main ones. So ask questions. Tell me about the improvements you've made to your home in the last 2 or 3 years. Based on homes that have sold in your neighborhood, where do you see your home selling? Not what do you think your home is worth? It's a different question. Based on homes that have sold in your neighborhood, where do you see your home selling? If they give you a number, awesome, just write it down. If they tell you, I have no idea, or that's why you're coming, your answer to that is okay. Move on to the next question. Now, if they give you a number and you know that number is completely unrealistic, don't stop and respond with, are you out of your mind? You're not going to get that. That's crazy. No, just you're Columbo, you're a detective, you're asking questions, you're writing information down. All right, are you interviewing other realtors? Super important to ask. If they say yes, are you meeting with me first? Or am I the first agent that's meeting with you? Now, if they say no, I want you to ask them if they would make a commitment. It's just a verbal commitment. And I promise you this really works. Would you promise me that you will not make a decision until you meet with me? Get them to verbally make that promise. Now, even if they meet with somebody before you that they like, that they're thinking of hiring, they're going to remember, I promised Cari that I would not make a decision until I met with her. How do I know this? Because I close on every single appointment I go on. And I've heard, I promised so-and-so that I would not make a decision. I'm like, doggone it. So make sure you do that. Ask them, have you thought about selling your home by owner? Now, I coach real estate agents for a living. In Cari, I have agents tell me, I'm not sure I want to ask them that question. They might not have thought about it. I'm like, trust me, they've thought about it. Just ask. All right, why would you want to know that? Because by knowing the answer is yes, then you can, in your preparation, you can prepare to proactively overcome selling your home by owner. All right. There's a lot more questions you can ask in the soft interview, but like I said, I want you to create that on your own. All right, 2-step versus 1-step. If it's a for sale by owner or it's an expired listing and you've gone to see their home based on if I had an offer, would you want me to bring you the offer? Yes, cool. See you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Then it's always going to be a 2-step. However, you're going to have listing appointments that you're going to have the opportunity to do in 1 step. In other words, you schedule the appointment for Thursday. You go Thursday at 4 p.m. You tour the home. You sit down at the kitchen table. You go through your presentation, close, take the listing, leave. Or are you going to go on a 2-step listing presentation? Are you going to go see the home first, take a tour, write down notes, ask questions? Hey, Cari, by the way, it's completely okay if anybody interrupts me. I'm like, I don't know if you guys remember Zig Ziglar, but Ziglar used to share that, he could speak at about 400 words a minute. And when he gets really, really excited, it gets up to about 600 words a minute. And that's what I'm like when I'm teaching this subject. I could go fast and sometimes too fast. So it's completely okay if somebody just take yourself off mute and say, hey, John, shut up for a moment. I got a question. Besides, it gives me a chance to drink. Hold on. Cari, how are we doing so far? We're good? Okay. Anybody leave us yet? Let's check. Nope, cool.
Only join us. We've had more people join us. You guys definitely chat in the chat box. Those of you that joined late, you can chat in the chat box or raise your hand and stop us at any time. Yeah.
They're like, there's this crazy guy teaching on Cari's channel. Somebody need to get over there and listen to what he's got to say. Okay, that's cool. I'm a fan of 2-step listing presentations. Given a choice, I want to go twice. Is it easier to make 1-step listing presentations? Yes, it is. And even when I was listing 12 to 15 homes every single month, 90% of them were 2-step listing presentations. I just think that by going to see the home twice, taking notes, asking questions, and then going back to do your preparation based on what you saw the first time shows that you care about them, they can trust you, and you know what you're doing. So I'm in favor of a 2-step versus 1-step listing presentation. All right, key point number 3, preparation. Leave no stone unturned. When you are pulling comparables, make sure that you are pulling every single comparable in the neighborhood. Do not delete anything or not include it or not bring it with you, whether it's digitally or in print, because it's not comparable. The seller doesn't know it's not comparable. And what's going to happen is you're going to sit at that kitchen table and they're going to say, what about Billy and Jeannie's home around the corner from us? It just sold for $480,000. Why don't you have that one? And you're going to end up looking like you didn't know what you were doing or you missed it, when in reality, it's 1,000 square foot bigger and it's not comparable. But if you bring it with you, then at least you brought every single property that sold in the last 6 months, every property that is currently for sale, whether it's comparable or not, and then go into public records or tax records and do a search to see what for sale by owners have sold in the last 6 months. So you're not missing any of those. Don't leave any stone unturned when you're doing your preparation. All right. Track the market. And what I mean by that is when you did your soft interview, you asked them how long they lived in their home. So you know, if they tell you I've lived in my home for 7 years, okay, it's 2023, they bought the house in 2016. I'm going to go back into the tax records and I'm going to look to see when they bought their home. And I'm going to also look to see how much did they pay for their home. Now, why is that important? Because part of market value is determining if they paid for their home, if they paid $300,000 for their home 7 years ago, and we're in a market that's been doing this, then it's appreciating every year. Yes or yes. And how much is it appreciating by? Well, that depends on the market you're in. And as a local economist of choice, it's your job to know that. What's the average appreciation per year in your market? Because it's different than my market. But as a professional, it's your job to know that. For example, if homes have appreciated an average of 10% a year over the last 7 years, and they paid $300,000 for the home 7 years ago, how much would it be worth today just based on appreciation? This is really important to know, especially when you have a seller who has a completely unrealistic expectation when it comes to the sales price of their home. They tell you, I want $700,000. Okay, cool. What would that do for you? Well, it would do this, this, and this. Okay, based on the information we've looked at today, share with me where you're seeing 700,000. Because the information I'm looking at, I don't see it. The market is giving me a different, the data is giving me a different number. Help me understand your number. Now, in order to get them to a point where they can accept the price that their home is going to sell for, we need perspective. Perspective is the only thing that can dramatically change the outcome of an event without changing any of the facts. And if I've got a seller that's feeling like they're being taken advantage of, they're giving their home away, I'm immediately going to go to this conversation. Okay, cool. Let's go back. When did you buy your home? Bought it in 2016. How much did you pay for it? I paid blank. And I'm going to get out what Zig Ziglar called his thinking pad, which is just a legal pad, and I'm just going to draw it. I'm going to go, okay, so the market's done this. The values have gone up that on average 10% per year over the last 7 years. Based on that, your home is worth blank, and you want blank. And but the price they want is way over what the market's appreciated to. If you bought a stock and you sold that stock 7 years later at an average return of 10% a year, how would you feel about that? What do you think you're going to hear? I'd feel amazing. That would be awesome. As a matter of fact, you'd go out and borrow money to buy more of that stock, wouldn't you? Yeah, I would. Well, you've lived in that stock for the last 7 years. And I'm going to stop, just like I did with you, because I'm going to give them time to go, I want to hear, That means, and think of it like that. You know what, John? That's right. There's a big difference between that's right and you're right. By the way, pay attention to this with your spouse and your kids. You're right just means they want to get rid of you. That's right means they agree with you. Isn't that true, Cari? Don't say you're right.
I was just going to do that.
Okay. All right. How are we doing, Cari? Okay.
Great.
All right. Think about potential obstacles. You've done your soft interview. So in your preparation, I want you to think about what are the obstacles that I could possibly be faced with. I don't want you to be surprised by any obstacles. I want you to think ahead of time, what are the roadblocks that I may be faced with? And then I want you to create a solution, a strategy for overcoming each of those obstacles. So when they hit you, you're not, oh crap, you're just smiling and listening and saying, okay, tell me more. All right, how did that make you feel? Just go deeper, and the whole time you've got the answer, you've got the response, you're ready to go, you're going to crush it. All right. Let the data do the heavy lifting. So when I'm sitting down at the appointment, I've done my preparation. By the way, we're still on preparation. You guys haven't even shown up at the house yet. And when I'm presenting the data, if I'm presenting information that's not going to be received great, they realize that they're in a 4-month supply of inventory when they thought they were still in less than a 30-day supply of inventory. By the way, there's a lot of realtors out there that are thinking that way. Cari, I was on a coaching call yesterday and I had an agent who had 2 listings that he put on the market in the last 20 days and he was freaking out because they weren't sold yet. 20 days. And I said, do your research, come back and tell me what the supply and demand was. He came back and he said 3 months. So that's 90 days. And you've been on the market 20 days. He goes, yeah, I didn't realize that. Like, cool, now you know. All right, so let the data do the heavy lifting. Let the data be the bad guy, not you. All you're doing is providing them with data and then asking them, what do you think? What do you see? What's the market telling you? The market's talking. What is it saying? All right. Number 4, finally. Kodak moment. Kodak moment is your first impression. You have 10 seconds to make a great first impression. You knock on the door. They answer the door. You, lots of energy with a smile. Hey, Matthew, John Dietz. We had an appointment at 4 p.m. and it's 4 p.m. May I come in? Now, compare that to, hi, Cari, my name is John Dietz. We had an appointment at 4 p.m. and it's 4 p.m. May I come in? Who do you want to meet with? The first guy or the second guy? The first guy. Yes. You have 10 seconds to make a great first impression. Part of that impression is you, your energy, your smile. You're a lot more not likable like this than, how's it going? Smile. How you dress matters. A lot of other things matter even more. You have 10 seconds to make a great first impression. That's your Kodak moment. All right, number 5, care, trust, and help. Everybody who meets with you is asking themselves 3 questions. Write it down, please. Do you care about me? Cari shows up at my front door to list my home. I'm asking myself, does she care about me? Can I trust her? Can she help me? Does she know what she's doing? Can she help me? By the way, that's the least important question of the 3. The most important question is, can I trust you? And then, do you care about me? But if you don't win the question the right way, can I trust you? You're done. You're toast. I don't care how much you know about the market. I don't care if you're the best marketer that ever lived. If you know more about the real estate industry than anybody else, if they can't trust you, they ain't hiring you. Can I trust you? Do you care about me? Can you help me? One, two, three, 4.
John, then do you recommend saying that during the listing presentation? Look, I just want you to know you can trust me and I am the agent that can help you. You want to say that, like, or not? Or
I love that question. I love that question. So Matthew, the answer to that is yes. Yeah. Let me give you, I'll just push play and here comes the script. How's that? So Matthew, I really want to work with you. However, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way. I don't need to work with you. I don't need your listing. And that's actually a good thing. I want to work with you. That's why I'm here. But you see, if I really needed your listing, I would tell you anything you wanted to hear just to put a sign in your front yard. And because I care about you, I care about your goals, I'm not going to tell you anything that you want to hear just to put a sign in your front yard. All right, dissect that. I'm not going to tell you anything you want to hear just to put a sign in your front yard. What word are you hearing? Are you hearing trust? Can you trust me? I'm not going to tell you anything you want to hear just to put a sign in your front yard. However, because I know you're meeting with other agents, now this is called throwing your competition under the bus. Because I know you're meeting with other agents, I know you're going to meet with an agent who is desperate and they're going to tell you anything you want to hear just to put a sign in your front yard. For example, they may give you a price that's completely unreasonable, and you may be tempted to hire them because it's a higher price. Now, that agent told you something you wanted to hear. What are you guys hearing? Can they trust that agent? No, they can't. Now, they told you a price you wanted to hear just to put a sign in your front yard because, after all, why would they do that? Here's the reason why. That sign is going to generate phone calls. Those phone calls are going to turn into buyers. And that agent is going to sell homes, just not yours. They're using you to market themselves in order to sell somebody else's home. Now, how would you feel about that? That's the same question as, can you trust that agent? The answer is no, I can't. Now watch this, guys. They're sitting at the kitchen table the next day. They're meeting with that agent, and that agent starts telling them the best thing that can possibly happen, everything they want to hear. You think they're going to hear good news? No, they're going to hear danger, Will Robinson, danger. And they're going to, those of you who don't know Lost in Space are probably like, what the heck is he talking about? So it's a red flag. They're going to go, this is that person John was talking about. This is the agent who's telling us anything we want to hear. So Matthew, 100%, I'm absolutely going to tell him, I care about you. You can trust me. I know what I'm doing. 100%. When you do, tonality really matters. I care about you. You can trust me. I know what I'm doing. These are downswing comments. They're not upswing comments. I'm not saying them with a smile. I'm not saying them as a question. I care about you. I know what I'm doing. You can trust me. That ain't going over so well. All right. I want you to write these words down. Gratitude. The second word I want you to write down is expectations. The third word is needs analysis. The fourth word is prioritize needs. And what I just did for you is I took steps 7, 8, 9, and 10 out of my 14-point listing presentation, and I reduced them down to 10 words, maybe a dozen. I don't know. I wasn't counting. And steps 7, 8, 9, and 10 are scripted. They're in my book, right, Matthew? Word for word, exactly what to say. Now, the reason I'm giving them to you the way I am today is because I want you to be able to take these words into a listing presentation with you. I want you to have them on a piece of paper, just like I do. And I want you to have them in front of you as bullet points, just as a reminder. The first thing I'm going to do is gratitude. Cool. Mary, thank you for the opportunity to meet with you today. It is always a privilege and an honor to meet with a potential seller and discuss the possibility of the Dietz team representing them in the sale of their home. Now, all of that came from one word, gratitude. That's how I'm going to start the listing presentation. And for me, that's the script. For you, it could be something as simple, thank you for meeting with me today. It'd be that simple. By the way, that gives you an advantage in competing against other real estate agents because most agents don't even say thank you. Expectations. One word and scripted. This is what it sounds like. Whenever I meet with a potential seller, let's go to Sarah. Sarah, thank you for having your camera on. Whenever I meet with a potential seller, Sarah, or buyer or client, one of three things typically happens. One of those three things will happen today. Either number one, they understand and appreciate the benefits that I have to offer and they hire me, which is awesome. Let me pause for a moment. I slowed down and exaggerated the point two because I want you to hear the embedded command, okay? Hire me. It's a downswing. Hire me. It's not hire me. It's a downswing. Hire me. Now, in real life, here's what it sounds like. Sarah, so whenever I meet with a potential seller, one of three things typically happens. One of those three things will happen today. Either number one, they understand and appreciate the benefits that I have to offer and they hire me, which is awesome. Or the second thing that occasionally happens is they don't hire me, and quite honestly, that's not so awesome. And the third thing that happens every so often is I may choose to turn down the opportunity. Now I'm going to pause just like I did, which gives them an opportunity to ask, why would you turn down my listing?
Why would you do that?
I love that question. I'm so glad you asked. And I think you're going to really like the answer, Sarah. By the way, script. I'm waiting for why would you do that so I can push the play button and go right next to the rest of the conversation. Now, you don't want to be scripted. Don't worry about it. When you hear, why would you do that? Just respond with, I'm glad you asked. If I feel a seller has a goal or an expectation that I cannot meet or exceed, Sarah, I'd rather turn the opportunity down today than let you down 6 months from now. Now, I'm pausing and I'm giving Sarah an opportunity to say, I like that. That makes sense. Now, if she doesn't, good with that, I'd rather turn the opportunity down today than let you down 6 months from now. Does that make sense? What's she going to say? No, I don't understand that. She's going to say yes, of course she is. Now, needs analysis. And all of that came from expectations. One word. Everything you heard after that was expectations. 3, or whatever the next number is. Yeah, it's 3. Needs analysis. In order for me to know if I can meet your goals and exceed your expectations, I need to ask you a couple of questions. Would that be okay? I'm going to say yes. Yeah. All right, Sarah, I'm sticking with you because you're talking to me and I like that. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not so good and 10 being awesome, what's one thing that needs to happen in the sale of your home that would cause you to consider the experience of 10?
And 10 is bad.
10 is great. With 1
10 is great.
So great, and 10 is awesome.
But I got above asking price.
Okay, let's pause on that. She's doing what everybody else does. In real life, I'm going to let them keep talking. I'm not going to tell them to shut up. But for the purpose of this group, we're looking for one goal, right? What's one thing? Okay, what's one thing, not the one thing? What's one thing that needs to happen? The reason I'm asking that is because I don't want all their goals. I want one. So Sarah, let's go with if I could sell it above the asking price. All right, Sarah, tell me, what does that look like?
Hopefully multiple offers.
Okay. What's the price that you need to get in order to sell it above the asking price?
I don't know. You tell me.
Oh, good job, Sarah. I almost thought I had her, Cari. She was going to say a price. I was going to, yes, got a price. Doggone it. Okay. Real life, that's going to happen. I'm going to respond with, I understand. By the way, Sarah, do me a favor and tell me, what would that do for you? If we got above the asking price, what would that do for you?
It would set me up to be able to move to my next house, and maybe I'll use you as my agent if you do such a good job.
Oh, she's hanging carrots now. I like that. Okay. Sarah, cool. Got it. Now, if we can accomplish a second goal, such that this would be a 10 plus experience, what's another goal? What else needs to happen for this to be a 10 plus experience?
That it happens quickly, like under a couple weeks.
So if we had a contract in less than 2 weeks, that would be a 10?
Yeah.
Cool. And what does that do for you?
Lets me move on to the next chapter.
Okay.
And I don't have to keep my house clean for a long time because my kids are terrorists.
You know, we get that answer a lot, right? Especially, yeah. Good job, Sarah. Mine are as well. They're just 26 years old and 21 years old, but still terrorists. So I want you to hear a question. What does that do for you versus why is that important? Why is that important? Might be a good question. And then again, it might sound like you're interrogating them. What does that do for you is better than why is that important? Just make a note of that. So what would that do for you? Well, it's important to Sarah because she doesn't want to have to keep the house clean and she's got kids who tear up the house. Okay. Now, if we could accomplish a third goal, what would the third goal be? And Sarah, I'm going to give you that one just for fun. Let's say you're looking for a realtor who's going to discount their commission.
Okay.
Okay. What do you think I'm going to say when she says, well, if you were to discount your commission, that would be a 10. What do you think my response is going to be?
I can totally understand that.
I love that. I understand. And what else do you think I'm going to say?
What if I tell you that you can still net the same price?
Not bad, but you're answering questions. You're still Columbo right now, Sarah. It's not time to be a salesperson. Time to be a detective. I'm going to ask, what would that do for you? Why do you think I'm going to ask that question? Because the answer is obvious, right? She wants to net more money, right? So if we all know that, why am I asking, what would that do for you? Come on, guys. I want you to really think on this because this is Cari, we could stop the class after this.
I think because you want to tie in the emotion, right? You want to hit that pain point and say, hey, will it do for you so that she can imagine that you're going to be able to sell it for more and then she knows what it's going to do for her, right? So I think you connect her to that point and you let her know that that's the pathway to what you're going to take her. I think that's my opinion.
All right, Matthew, thank you for jumping in there. Okay, love the answer. Here's what I'm looking
I
for,
think
guys.
Mary has an answer.
I think you're going to say that you're not going to be a good negotiator. If you
Mary's been following me. So yeah, right. When somebody asks me if I'm willing to negotiate my fee, I'm also hearing them ask how good, right? That comes later, Mary. We're still in the
Mary's ahead of the game.
Yeah, you are. Rewind just a little bit. You're ahead of us. Here it is, guys. If I ask Sarah, what's a third goal? And she responds with, if you would reduce your commission. And I respond with, what would that do for you? What I want Sarah to say is, I would net more money. All right, now pause for a moment. You're selling your home. You can hire a real estate based on the agent who's going to charge the lowest commission possible. True or false? Yes or no?
True.
You can choose to hire somebody based on commission. Is that true or false?
True.
It's true. I got one person to say true, Cari. That's awesome. Now, can you also base your decision on the agent who's going to give you an opportunity to net the most amount of money?
Yeah.
You can. Are they the same?
Not necessarily.
No, they're not. What I want to do is I want to help Sarah base her decision on who's going to give her the opportunity to net the most amount of money versus basing her decision on who charges the lowest commission. Tom Hopkins simply calls it change their base. And Matthew, what I'm doing is I'm going to help you change your base from who charges the lowest commission, because if they're going to base their decision on who charges the lowest commission, even if you discount your fee, you're never going to win because somebody else can just discount their fee below yours. And eventually somebody's working for free. However, if you can get them to base their decision on who's going to give them the opportunity to net the most amount of money, you're going to win that game every time. You're going to demonstrate care, trust, help, because I'm a local economist of choice, because I am a strategic pricing professional, because I'm an expert at marketing your home in order to attract the right buyers, not just any buyers. And because I am a fierce negotiator, I am selling an average of 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 homes a month. in less than 30 days for an average of 99% of the asking price. Now, the average limited service discount agent, write it down. You're identifying your competition as limited service. When you're hiring somebody, do you want to hire limited service or extraordinary service? I want to hire the person who sucks. No, you want to hire somebody who is absolutely the best at what they do. So if you hire that limited service discount agent, it's taken an average of 120 days on the market for them to sell a home. I pulled the data. Look, here it is. They're getting an average of 96% of the asking price. I'm getting an average of 99% of the asking price. Did you save money by hiring that limited service discount agent? Yes or no? Somebody say no.
No,
No? You ready to get started?
let's do it.
It's that simple. And did I give up commission? No, I got Sarah to base her decision. I got her. That sounds like I'm a slick salesperson. I don't like that. I helped her base her decision on netting the most amount of money versus basing her decision on who's going to charge the lowest fee. Now, I'm going to give you guys a comparison that I hope just hits home like a ton of bricks. All of you should get this. All of you. Why? Well, you're here. You're not at some 100% brokerage. If you made a decision on who's going to give you the highest commission split, you wouldn't be here. You would be at some 100% brokerage that doesn't do anything for you. You based your decision not on 100% or the best commission split. You base your decision on who is going to give you the best opportunity to build an extraordinary business, to live a life that was worth living. Makes sense, right? Okay. I'm going to get off my soapbox. Sorry, Cari. I was preaching there for a moment. Hope that's okay. All right, logic and emotion. When we're going back through their needs and we're talking about get my home under contract within 14 days, get an offer above the asking price, me reducing my commission, I'm going to use logic and emotion every time. So for example, Sarah, if we can get your home under contract in less than 14 days, we got above the asking price or close to above the asking price because goal number one was to get a contract in 14 days. And we were able to get at the asking price or above the asking price. We nailed those two goals so that you can move to Atlanta in order to start your new job on time, in order for your kids to be in school on time, logic and emotion. However, my commission is not negotiable. That would be a 10, right? Now, why is that? Well, because at some point, they're going to have to choose between the three goals they gave you, goal number 1, 2, and 3. Which one is most important? How are they going to make decisions? Well, they're going to make decisions based on logic. However, when we get down to decision time, they're going to make decisions based on emotion more than anything else. So when you get that offer, Matthew, this offer came in 10 days. If you were to accept this offer, does it get you to Atlanta in time to start your new job and for your kids to start school in their new school?
Yes.
Okay, so we can check that box. Now the offers for $600,000, your asking price is $605,000. So it's not above the asking price. It's $5,000 below what you're asking. So it doesn't check that box. Correct?
Yes.
Now, if you had to choose, Matthew, between accepting the offer at $600,000 and being in your home in Atlanta in time to start your new job and for your kids to be at school for the beginning of the school year, and you gave up $5,000 on your home, on the price you wanted, or you're still in your home 60 days from now, you're not in that home in Atlanta, you're not starting your new job, your kids are not in the school you wanted to go to, how would you feel about that?
Terrible.
What do you think you should do?
Take the 600.
All right, let's do it. Is this making sense?
Yes, I do that too. And I tell them what's your holding cost, right? For 2 months, what would your payment be, your insurance, your
Mhm.
bills? Yeah.
Yes, that's why I like Matthew. He's smart. How much are you paying not to sell your home? All right, number 7, close. The close is nothing more than an effective conclusion to a natural conclusion to an effective presentation. Close is nothing more than the natural conclusion to an effective presentation. In other words, you don't have to spend a whole lot of time learning all of these really fancy closes. I'll give you 2. Are you ready to get started? That's 1. 2, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being, like anything I said, and you can't wait for me to leave. Use humor. When you do, smile. It's funny. 1 being, you don't like anything I said, you can't wait for me to leave. And 10 being, I'm the right agent for the job. You go from smiling, happy to downswing. I'm the right agent for the job. Where are we? There's your 2 closes. It's the only 2 closes you're ever going to need. Are you ready to get started? Or on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being, you don't like anything I said, you can't wait for me to leave. And 10 being, I'm the right agent for the job. Where are we? They're going to give you an 8 or 9. If they give you less than an 8, just pack your things up and leave. You're not going to hear 6 or 7 because you're going to do an amazing job. They're going to give you an 8 or 9. If you get a 9, the only reason it's not a 10 is because they want to think about it, they want to sleep on it, or they have an appointment the next day. That's it. If you hear an 8, then there's an obstacle there. Now, if you hear 8, what would it take for me to be a 10 today? Now, I'm going to teach you how to fish it out, because if they say, I don't know, if I work for free, would I be a 10 today? Well, yeah. All right, cool. So it's commission. Well, I guess it is. Now, where's Mary? Mary, now it's time. So if I were to lower my fee to 5%, for example, would you hire me today? Yes, I would. Cool. Mary, you want to take over? This is where you pick up with, when somebody asks me if I'm willing to lower my fee, I'm also hearing them what, Mary?
They're not, well, you're not going to be a good negotiator for them.
Yes. I love Mary. She's my new favorite. Sorry, Matthew. So when somebody's asking me if I'll lower my fee, I'm also hearing them ask how good of a negotiator I am. Well, Mary, the good news for you is I'm a really good negotiator. You see, if I were willing to give away my money that quickly that I use to support my family, how quickly would I give up your money when we have an offer on your home? Buyer's agent comes in with an offer of $470. That limited service discount agent who gave away their home, who gave away their money, replies with $470. That's awesome, because I know she'll take $480. They just gave away your home when I might have been able to sell your home for $500,000. You just lost $20,000 trying to gain an extra $5,000. How does that feel?
It doesn't feel good.
All right. So do you want to hire that limited service discount agent, or am I the right agent for the job, Mary?
You're the right agent for the job.
You ready to get started?
Yes.
Let's go. All right. Cari, that's a wrap.
Amazing, as always. Any last ahas or questions as we wrap up? We've just got a couple minutes, but I want to give anybody a chance. And I've been monitoring online. We have 12 people still watching, lots of thumbs up, lots of hearts, no questions yet. But any of you that are live, please unmute yourself.
That was great. I'm not a script person. I've been selling real estate for a long time and I don't do scripts, but that was very well done.
It was very good. Yeah.
So Let me ask Sarah a question. Sarah, if you didn't know that I've written 2 books on scripts, that I'm known as a script person, would you think, just based on what you heard, that I sound scripted?
No, for the most part. I think part of it is that like I am in the industry, so it's like I know even like what you're saying behind it. And so like I have to give you the benefit of a doubt. If I was just a normal customer, I don't know that I would think it was scripted.
Okay, so a great answer, by the way. My advice would be, if you don't like scripts, then don't use them. If you're afraid of sounding scripted, don't sound scripted. If you're
Yeah.
afraid of sounding like a robot, don't sound like a robot.
Yeah.
Learn what works for you. This just works for me.
I liked your little like one word thing. Like for me, just even having that to kind of like guide you, even if you didn't like fully script out, but just having the like highlights that you know what that means and you like are
Totally.
either reading it or whatever. I feel like that would be a good like compromise if you aren't against using scripts, just to kind of keep on track.
So glad you said that. Never go into an appointment with the entire presentation written out in front of you. Never, ever. Always use bullet points and just do the best you can based on the bullet points that are in front of you. If you see me on stage, if you come to an event and I'm on stage and I'm speaking, I promise you, the only thing I brought on stage with me is bullet points, just as a roadmap to remind me this is where you're going next.
Do you use a PowerPoint
Never.
or anything like in that?
I'm the PowerPoint. I'm too good of a show to put up a PowerPoint and distract them. I want them looking at me.
You should see John's videos on you. If you go to his YouTube channel, you can see his videos. I think today he was doing his presentation to us and maybe purposely not sounding scripted, but he doesn't really. And so his videos on YouTube are really good. And I did buy his book. He's not paying me to say this because I didn't even know what today's call was going to be about. I bought his book Rainmaker, and I know a lot of scripts, and I used to be a real estate trainer, not a coach. It's different. I used to train pre-licensing classes, but his book, I love it because he does give you the scripts and he gives you the explanations of what that script is going to do, and then hear how you pivot if they say this or that. So I even showed it to my son, who's a 25-year-old script master who gets most of our listings for us. And he goes, oh my God, those are like really good. And I think, John, right during the downturn of the market back in 2008 and all that, you were getting 10 listings a month at least, right?
My active listing inventory ranged between 50 and 70 listings at a time. Yeah.
So I think that holds a little bit of, I mean, that's why I think these scripts work for me. But anyway, I just want to throw that in there.
I like the psychology behind it too, for sure. Just understanding like where you're bringing your customer down in the customer journey.
Good job. Yeah, I agree. It's important.
I would hire you as my realtor, John.
That
Okay.
is good to know.
Yes. Hey, Cari, that's a great transition to, if you would hire me as your realtor, would you hire me as your coach? If you're interested in hiring me as your coach, my email address is coachjohndietz@gmail.com. That's Coach John Diet with a Z @gmail.com.
I love it. And you guys check out his YouTube. Seriously consider, he does some really cool, coaching opportunities that, I mean, if you're surrounding yourself with these conversations on a regular basis, you internalize this information. It isn't scripted, but you start to say things that you just didn't have the knowledge or power to say before, and it literally will get you more listings. So I highly encourage it. John has been coming from contribution and joining us twice a month here. So if you like this, watch for, him to be present with us at least once, if not twice a month in the summer. And then when we get back in the fall, we'll be back to our regular schedules of every Tuesday and Wednesday as well. We just posted our May mastermind in EXP Family Tree on my social media if you're friends with me. So grab it, see which other, trainings you might want to attend. And we're going to go all the way up until the week before the Memorial weekend, and then we're going to take a break so we can all unplug, rest, have fun. But let's train up and let's get into action up until that point, so then we can take a little bit of time off. John, as always, thank you for joining us. Thanks for being here, and we really appreciate it. We always learn a ton. Thanks you guys for joining, and we'll see you here tomorrow.
It's scary. Hi,
Bye, guys.
everybody.